I am going to miss solo queue. Even back when solo queue was around, I barely even duo queued. I mean, I just preferred solo queue. Like, for those who don't know, solo queue is dead. All right, we're not getting that shit. Okay, it is dead. Solo queue is as dead as Bernie Sanders' campaign. They're both just dead. All right, I wish they were both going to, they make a comeback, but we all know deep down that they're not. Nonetheless, I refuse to regularly play dynamic queue, okay? I refuse to regularly play dynamic queue with a bunch of people, okay? I'm still gonna be playing ranked, but I'm still flying solo. You cannot make me socialize with people, Riot! Hi there, my name's Donghua. If you're like me and you're still an avid solo queue player, then you might run into some troubles with communication. Communication in solo queue is a lot more difficult than communication in dynamic queue. Dynamic queue is really fast, simple, and easy because all you really have to do is, say something and it gets communicated. Most people can't type really fast, and even if they could type really fast, it really wouldn't matter to the amount of detail and to the amount of things that you'd have to actually say in order to get your point across. Solo queue communication can be difficult, but it is not impossible. Here are a few of my favorite ways to communicate with people in solo queue. Number 1. Has this ever happened to you? You're playing, everything's going fine. You're laning, and your lane gets pushed up to your tower. No problem, that happens. Your wave gets pushed to your tower, and you decide, okay, it's at my tower, I'm not gonna do anything, I'm just gonna sit under here and farm. That's it. So then your laner, he goes missing, alright? So what do? Naturally, what most people do is they ping Mia, the missing in action ping, the standard ping, to let your teammates know, hey guys, I don't know where this guy is, so you best play careful. You ping your Mias, but a few seconds later, someone else dies. Someone gets ganked by your laner even though you just pinged your Mia, and what happens? Well, if you forget to ping your Mia, which does happen from time to time, usually your teammates will say something like, ping your Mias, you dumb fuck! But if you did ping your Mias, your teammates might say something like, why didn't you follow, you dumb fuck? So either way, most of the time, you're still a dumb fuck. Now this has to do with your teammates' map awareness. Now map awareness is admittedly one of the most difficult skills to perfect and master in League of Legends. There are generally 3 levels of map awareness: average, good, and pro. Average map awareness is basically, you only look at the minimap when people are furiously pinging. When you hear the ding 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 sounds, that's the only time you actually look at the minimap. That is what a majority of players do. Good map awareness is where players routinely check the minimap every 3 to 6 seconds. And pro map awareness is where someone checks the minimap in between every single creep that he gets. So basically, this guy is looking at the minimap and laning with his opponent pretty much at the same time. So basically, a minimap check every half second. So how does this affect you and your teammates? Well, like I said, most people don't look at the minimap. It's not just because people forget to look at the minimap, but it's also because looking at the minimap and playing League of Legends is admittedly pretty hard. Think about all the things you have to do in an actual lane. I have to farm, I have to trade, I have to make sure I survive, I have to look at my minions and his minions to make sure I can go in for a good trade, I have to keep track of my enemy's cooldowns, I have to do so many things, and I have to check this minimap to make sure that I can account for all 10 players on the map? It's sort of like if every single professional boxer had to deal with some creepy guy in the background just trying to shove a dildo up his ass. And every half second or so, he had to look back to make sure that creepy guy was not shoving a dildo up his ass. Admittedly, it would be pretty hard to fight someone else while checking for dildo shovers. That's sort of what you're doing when you're looking at the minimap to check if the jungler is coming to fuck you from behind. And even though most people understand the importance of good map awareness, it is still very difficult for a lot of people to multitask these 2 things at the same time. So what can you do to help your teammates? There is a third option in which your teammates will not actually call you a dumb fuck. Take a quick look at this picture. What does your eye focus on? Your eye focuses on the middle, the black dot, because it is the centerpiece of all attention, right? It is the same way with everyone's vision. In a lane, what most people are focused on is the enemy champion and the enemy minions. It is their focus of vision. So instead of just pinging your Mia, because if your teammates aren't looking at the minimap, they sure as fuck aren't looking at your lane. What you can do instead is you can ping their lane. Ping them in their immediate vision field. Ping right on top of their champion. Ping right in their face. Shoot pings all over their face. Mia goes great with a lot of ping on the face. You can be sure that someone notices you if you ping right on top of their face. But remember to be polite, okay? Remember to be polite. Only shoot one load of pings, okay? Do not go overboard with these. Do not spam them. Just one load on their face. Number 2. Objectives can be tricky in solo queue. Shot calling in general is very difficult. One bad Baron call, one bad engage, a single misstep can just lose a one game. Having a game plan at the start of the game is a very good thing. But most people don't even have a game plan by the middle of the game. You know what your teammates are like during the mid game? Your teammates are kind of like dogs. They're like dogs because during the mid game they have no direction. They have no thinking. If you ever walk a dog, the dog is the same way. All right, it just goes around and it sniffs whatever it can see. It gets very distracted very easily. Ooh, some farm. Ooh, a blue buff. Ooh, oh, I'm dead. Oh, and you want to know how I know that dogs are smarter than people? Because dogs don't feed, people feed dogs. Boom, there you go. Feeder is always the idiot. So how do you keep your animals in line? What you do is you give them a game plan. Most people don't have a game plan going in. So when someone who is doing well presents one, they are naturally and instinctively going to follow it. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can just be a simple game plan. We will group mid and we will have this person flank and this person engage. This person goes for inhibitor and we will go bait Baron. That's it. Simple directions, use pings to help guide your teammates. Now how do you know which objectives are good to take and which ones are not good to take? Well, in order to be a good shot caller, you require 2 things in large amounts, and that is game knowledge and game experience. No one can realistically teach you how to be a great shot caller in any video, really. But what I can give you is a general understanding of how valuable each objective is. From top to bottom, the most valuable objectives are bot inhibitor, Baron, Elder Dragon with a lot of stacks, mid or top inhibitor, Elder Dragon with some stacks, inhib tower, Elder Dragon with 1 stack, inner tower, Elder Dragon with no stacks, earth, water, fire, and tier 1 mid tower, Rift Herald and tier 1 bot or top tower, and finally Air Dragon. Air Dragon is the shittiest. I mean, what can I say? There was a reason that the Air Nomads were wiped out at the beginning first. You know, they were the weakest. You know, it's just... Was that too soon? I feel like that was a little bit too soon. Did I say that too soon? I'm sorry, that was too soon. Last thing I want to talk about. What do you do if your teammates don't listen to you? Not just you, but anyone on your team, that he will just not play with the team. What do you do? Let's say that your jungler or your top laner, they just want to split push. They will not stop split pushing and they will not group. The first thing you have to do is you have to change your strategy. Most people who like to shot call usually are people who play sort of engage type champions like Malphite or Leona, and they like to make big flashy plays like a big 5-man ultimate or something. Now, what some people will do is they will see an opening to make these 4-man ultimates, and even though that other person is still split pushing and not playing with the team, they will engage anyway. And if they lose the fight, they might say something like, wow, if you had just been there, if you had just grouped with the team, we would have definitely just won that team fight. But the thing is, he wasn't there. You knew he wasn't there. He has a history of not listening, not grouping. So why would you expect him to be there? Expecting your teammates to be good teammates is not a reasonable expectation a lot of times. You have to make do with what you have, and you base your strategy around that. You don't base your strategy around your fantasy team, about a team that follows all your orders and just makes perfect plays and perfect calls. You can't expect all your teammates to work together, so you work with what you got. It's kind of like the equivalent if I said, oh, I would be hot and sexy as well if I worked out, ate right, and had godly metabolism. it's very difficult to control things like a teammate who does not want to listen and your metabolism. But what you can control is when you want to work out and when you want to engage. Now, what do you do if you need this teammate to group with you? You have to have this teammate with you. Now, usually uncooperative teammates stay uncooperative, and most people will say, it's over, we're done. I move on to the next game, this game's over, just report this asshole. But there is still one thing that you can do if you care enough to win this game. What you can still do to salvage the game is beg like a bitch. Beg like a little bitch for this guy to help you. Now, some people might say, but I don't want to subject myself to this. This guy, he's a total dick. I don't want to put myself at the mercy of this guy. I will give you 5 good reasons as to why you should beg this guy to play. 1, who gives a shit what people think? 2, you're wasting more time by throwing a game that could be won if you just say a few meaningless words. 3, who gives a shit what people think? 4, ask yourself what's important. Would you like to win a game that you really care about by saying a few words that you don't actually even mean? And 5, I don't know if I said this one yet, but who gives a shit what people think? Unless you're in fairly high elo, you probably won't reoccur and re-meet people again in the same games, okay? Don't think of it as I'm subjecting myself to an asshole. Think of it as I am manipulating this asshole, okay? I am manipulating him into doing what he wants, because right now he wants to just quit the game and make us all lose. And what I'm doing is I'm reversing that and getting what I want, okay? The things that I find work best are keywords that play on the asshole's ego, like daddy, or senpai, or faker. Sometimes in solo queue, it's not necessarily about just getting your teammates to work together, but sometimes it's about getting someone to work at all.